Hello, hello, hello. We are live for College Pro Reacts 3, the clip show. So I have here a handful of clips that I'll be sharing. One real world video, and then I've got 4 movie clips that have been suggested by you, the viewers. So I am going to get started with the first clip, which is a UCF professor, Richard Quinn, saying one of his classes cheated the entire class. So we are going to pull him up and see what Dr. Quinn has seen. Um, this is about 15 minutes, but I don't intend for it to be that whole time.
I know we planned on going through and talking about the Chapter 9 material today, talking about mergers and acquisitions, alliances, and those kinds of things.
Okay.
That's been preempted.
That's not
And
good.
unfortunately, I think some of you know, I've been here for 11 years. I spent 10 years before I came here at the Rochester Institute of Technology. So I've been doing this for the last 21 plus years.
I'll just point out that's a 180-degree difference from Senor Chang in the community clip, who said they had no business to know how he taught Spanish. This guy's touting his 21 years, and he seems upset.
Probably delivered course content to tens of thousands of students over those 21 years.
Quite possibly.
And there was always one lecture that I hoped I never would have to give. And unfortunately, that hope ran out. Because I'm going to give a lecture today that basically is the toughest one I've ever had to give. And for some of you, it's the toughest one you've ever had to hear. When the midterm exam ended on Friday, a week ago, I looked at the data from the midterm exam, and at first I was just looking at the running statistics for the exam, and the exam was running about a grade and a half higher than it ever had run before.
Interesting problem.
I thought that was rather interesting. It kind of set up a little bit of a red flag, because with 600 and some odd students, and basically a course has been taught fundamentally the same way for the last 4 or 5 years, you don't see that kind of a grade improvement by chance. Once the exam.
So basically what he's saying is he saw people go through the test and they increase their typical grade by about a letter, which is a lot for his tests, which led to him having some concerns for those who didn't follow.
I ran more complete statistics on the exam. And what I came up with, or what came out of that, was something that looks like this.
So he's got the numbers to prove it.
Right, and I'm comparing the summer 2010 capstone course, which I taught, to the fall 2010 capstone course. In summer 2010.
N of 400. Okay, I was going to complain that he probably didn't have enough students in summer 2010, but that says there's 400. So, okay.
10, this is the grade distribution. It's all virtually a standard normal distribution around the mean.
Lord.
You'll notice that the
standard normal distribution. What he means, see how there's not very many folks who did very poorly, and then it gradually increases until we get to this middle, and then it gradually decreases until we get towards the end. That means that we have what's called a normal distribution, which means that which is pretty much typical and expected for exams and things like that. Maybe some skewing, but that looks like what an exam would hopefully look like.
There's a single peak in the distribution, and that the tails of the distribution are relatively equal, with the exception of the one student down at the bottom who basically scored a 60 out of 200. It's a relatively normal distribution. That's what it ought to look like.
It looks
about 400 students in the course in the summer. This is the grade distribution from this semester, and I think you can immediately notice the difference. This is what's called a bimodal distribution.
Bimodal simply means that there's 2 peaks.
Bimodal.
I did not plan to get into statistics today. Oh boy.
Distributions exist when an external force has been applied to a data set that creates a systematic bias to the data set. Now, on Sunday
one
when I ran this, I
interpretation.
didn't know what the systematic bias was, but I knew that it was there. On Monday, I found out what it was because a student, either through a guilty conscience or as a heads up, anonymously dropped this in the bin on my office door. This is, as some of you out there know,
So a whistleblowing.
because some of you out there are also in possession of this,
Oh.
is the complete test bank for the midterm exam.
Oh. Test banks are a way for professors to have a handful of questions available. They'll draw from them either um, semi-randomly or completely at random, depending on how they want to do it. Sometimes they'll be selective and pick which ones they want for each exam. You'll see that what he's holding up is pretty thick, so he probably has 2 or 3 versions of the exam that he runs, so that no neighbors are able to cheat off each other. But yeah, having a whole test bank of his prepared questions would be a huge problem.
During the course of Monday, the lab instructors basically took a look at the data, started receiving emails from students who were concerned and upset that classmates had been bragging to them that they had advanced copies of the exam.
Oh, advanced
and that they
copies of
aced the exam
would be
because they had all
unfair.
the answers ahead of time.
Yeah, that would be a huge problem.
Guess what? The midterm exam grades are being tossed.
Ooh,
Whatever you scored on the midterm exam no longer exists.
530 students that affect.
Everybody in the capstone course is going to be required to retake a new midterm exam.
Oh my God.
And before I get into the specifics of that, I want to thank all of the lab instructors and all of the team for working virtually nonstop over the course of the last 96 hours to write a completely new exam.
That's huge.
With about 200 questions to choose from, none of which, and I repeat, none of which come from a test bank.
200 questions written over 96 hours. That may not sound like a lot, but given the amount of material that was probably in that test bank, going through and creating 200 new questions that are different enough to not be just version 2.0 or 1.5 of the test bank is a huge shift. Oh my.
So whoever has the test bank for the midterm, it's worthless.
Good.
And I'm presuming you also have a test bank for the final exam. It's also worthless. Because as soon as this exam is completed, the entire team is going to write a completely new final exam with 0 questions coming from any test bank.
My word. That's a huge effort. Big team.
Over the course of the past 4 or 5 days, your lab instructors, academic services, and the Office of the Dean have begun and are continuing a forensic analysis of not only all of the data, but all of the available traffic over all of the available environments that possibly could provide us with better information about where this started and how.
So in 2010, this would mean that he's talking about how students shared the test bank. And let's be fair, in 2010, there was a lot fewer avenues available for sharing things online. So this is probably going to be far easier for IT and harder for students to hide.
Widespread it is. Let me tell you where we are right now. Right now, we've narrowed the pool of participants to about a third of the class.
That would be 180
So when you get into your labs this week, just to give you some idea of the perspective of that, when you get into your labs this week, look at the person on your left side, look at the person on your right side. Statistically, one of them cheated on the exam.
Or you cheated.
Now, we had 2 options.
Just
one
3
was to basically just simply scrub all of the other activities through the rest of the semester, cancel the capstone competition. But that would have been unfair to the 2/3 of the class that was honest and ethical and tried and did it right.
Good.
But
not hurting everyone.
I want to send a clear message to the ones who started this and the ones who propagated it and the ones who encouraged it over the course of the weeks leading up to the midterm exam.
You don't.
As I said to the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies when I met with him late last week, I could give him a list today, and I could guarantee him with about a 95% certainty that everybody who cheated on the exam was on the list. What I couldn't do was give him a list and guarantee that everybody whose name was on the list cheated on the exam. That was going to require some further forensic analysis of the data.
That's a
We
lot of
expect
work.
to have that forensic analysis of the data completed by the end of this week. At the end of this week, we will turn our findings over to academic affairs.
Good.
And at that point in time, the options and the results and the conclusions are out of our hands.
So basically what he's saying is he's going to report them all to another office who will handle the actual adjudication and decisions for the cases. That would be a nightmare for academic affairs to handle, but we will see.
They will do what they need to do to protect the integrity of the university and to protect the integrity of the college.
That's the most important part. We don't want our degrees getting watered
I don't
down
want to
by
be
cheating.
the one to have to explain to your parents why you aren't going to graduate. So I went back to the dean and I negotiated a deal with the dean.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the deal has a time limit, and the time limit runs out at 7 a.m. on Monday morning. Because that's when we're going to turn the data over to academic affairs, and at that point in time, they're going to take over and do their own investigation, and they're not happy.
Nor would we be.
So here's the deal. If you participated in this, you have a choice. You can sit back in silence and hope your name doesn't get caught in the net, which is very quickly closing around the participants. Or you can individually, quietly, one by one, anonymously if you wish, to the rest of your classmates, identify yourself to your lab instructor. If you do that,
interesting,
get to complete the rest of the course. The grade you get in the course is the grade you earn in the course.
Oh.
And providing you complete a 4-hour ethics course being offered by the folks over in academic affairs, any permanent record of this will be wiped from your transcripts.
That's a huge boon. That's a huge piece of amnesty that he's giving students. Like, you could be kicked out of school permanently for this, but he's got it where if they admit to it proactively, they just have to do a long course, but still just an afternoon.
No further action taken. So the choice is yours. If you want to take a high-risk gamble, take it. I challenge you to take it. Because we know who you are. We know where you are. And when academic affairs is done, you'll know the outcome. And oh, by the way,
that's a big statement.
For those of you who think that this is something that we caught by accident,
no.
College has informed every faculty member in the College of Business and every faculty member at the University of Central Florida.
Oh my.
That if they're using a publisher's test bank, that the test banks have been compromised.
Oh.
So if you've got a test bank from somebody else's textbook you think you're going to use, don't even dream of it. I've also been in contact with every single one of the major publishers who publishes textbooks that are used by the College of Business.
Good.
They're not only aware of it, but 2 of those publishers have turned the matter over to their legal staffs to pursue whatever legal action comes out of the investigation.
So the reason that that's interesting, that's alleging there's copyright infringement or data breaches going on, which is a huge issue when it comes to test banks and selling things. Quite simply, he doesn't own that test bank. It's owned by some other publisher. It's owned by some publisher, and if people are using that and sharing it without paying for it, without permission to share it, that is a huge copyright issue. And this is from 2010, so we're talking about right around the time that the Digital Millennium Copyright Act was big, right when lawsuits over copyright were really, really growing through from Torrent and Napster and things like that. So this, yeah, their legal teams would be very intrigued.
The information's also been shared with the Academy of Management and every organization that deals across college campuses. And I met in Atlanta, Georgia with faculty from 20 universities and shared it with them.
Oh, wow.
The days of being able to find a new way to cheat the system are over.
Okay, no, that's the I'm nope, nope, nope. They're just beginning, Professor Quinn. I I see what he means. Like he's saying how forensics has come a long way, but cheating is brand new. So I have a meeting in 2 weeks where one of the focal points will be Chat GPT and whether or not students are using it to cheat on papers. So we are nowhere near the end of cheating in new ways.
They're over, not just for this course, but for this university. This kind of behavior will not, cannot be tolerated. You know
No,
who you
can't.
are. To say I'm disappointed is beyond comprehension. Physically ill,
Whoa.
absolutely disgusted,
Mm, really
completely
upset.
disillusioned,
Oh,
trying to figure out what was the last 20 years for.
bro, don't put you so hard on yourself.
For those of you out there who acted ethically and acted honorably and did it right, you have my undying gratitude and my utmost respect. For those of you who took the shortcut, don't call me.
Mm,
Don't ask me to do anything for you ever
whoa. He's done.
again.
That's wow. He really cares. Teaching a course with 500 students is no small feat, and having a third of them cheat, that would be a huge blow. God, poor guy. Poor good students too.
The midterm exam makeup will open at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, November the 8th. It will close at midnight on November the 10th. It'll be open for 51 hours. That's it. Those are the hours you get to take the makeup exam. I don't care what's
No
on your
sharing.
schedule. I don't care what you have planned. If you have to give birth, you're going to give birth in the exam room because
Okay,
it's going to
no.
have to take a signed, hand-delivered note from God
Oh,
for you to get out of taking this midterm exam.
he is
So adjust
really
your
pissed.
schedules, blow off whatever it is you have to blow off to be there.
Oh my.
But this is a one shot, one time,
Take it or lose it.
7 a.m. on Monday to midnight on Wednesday. If you miss it, too bad.
7 a.m. to midnight Tuesday.
It is mandatory for everybody.
Oh. That's sort of smart just to see who.
Yep. And you
Okay, so that's actually a really interesting move to make it mandatory for everyone because that suggests that he can use that data to see who actually studied and who just used the test bank.
can thank your teammates and your classmates and those that did participate for providing you with the opportunity to do this.
Thanks, team. Wow.
I tell you how frustrating this has been. I didn't even have the
Uh-huh.
wits about me in the last 9 days or 8 days to actually load the slides for the Chapter 9 presentations.
Oh, wow.
So I literally have, unless I have it on my keychain, I literally don't have the material available to me to be able to present it.
That is huge. That that is most impressive for him to be in that frame of mind and be that shook. I'll say he strikes me as really authentic and really caring about his students. Um, but yeah. All right, we're gonna do I've got 4 more clips. We're going to do 2 from Animal House that I consider really interesting just to see what it was like back in the 1970s. Fair warning, I have no idea about Animal House. I'm coming into this one pretty much blind. The next one as well. So I will have to see what I shall see, and I'll take it blind. So this is Animal House's double secret probation clip, um, taking place in the administration building.
Greg, what is the worst fraternity on this campus?
That would be hard to say, sir. They're each
That's a
outstanding in
classic
their own way.
'70s
Cut the
look.
horseshit, son. I got their disciplinary files right here.
Then why'd you ask? Classic administrators asking questions we already know the answer to. If that's not something I do every day, I don't know what is.
Who dumped a whole truckload of fizzies into the swim meet?
That's a
Who delivered the
suspension.
medical school cadavers to the alumni dinner?
That's a expulsion and some police investigations. Okay.
Every Halloween, the trees are filled with underwear.
Okay.
Every spring, the toilets explode.
So at least 4 suspension, 3 expulsion worthy acts. Okay. And he knows who did this and he hasn't done anything about it. Good job,
You're talking about Delta, sir.
Delta.
Of course, I'm talking about Delta, you twerp.
So if he knows
So
they
it's gonna
did
be
this,
different. This year, we're going to grab the bull by the balls and kick those punks off campus.
I
What do
think
you
he
intend
could've
to
done
do,
that
sir?
a while ago.
Delta's already on probation.
They are?
Yes, sir.
He doesn't even know they're on probation. So I don't know who this guy is supposed to be. He's some sort of administrator, but he doesn't even know that the Deltas are on probation. That said, it was the 70s. Maybe I don't know.
Oh. Then, as of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
Dun dun
Double
dun.
secret probation, sir?
There is a little known codicil in the Faber College Constitution, which gives the dean unlimited power to preserve order in time of campus emergency.
Ah.
Find me.
So he's saying that there's a campus emergency. He hasn't said what, but complete power. Not gonna lie, that's something where there are things we call them now interim measures, but that is a very specific thing for when there's like a imminent threat, like someone has said, I'm going to fight so and so.
Airway to revoke Delta's charter. You live next door. Put Niedermeyer on it. He's a sneaky little shit just like you, right? The
Right up
time has come for
25.
someone to put his foot down. And that foot is me.
To be fair, his foot should have come down years ago. If he's known that this group has been causing havoc for years, he should have done something about it before now. Um, Here is the scene where the dean goes to Delta to talk with them, apparently. One thing I'm going to point out is just how uh, busy and much of a problem this could be. Uh, I'm getting a note that there was copyrighted stuff. So we're going to be careful about what we show here. So here's the dean. We'll just jump in and jump through it. So the dean is coming in, and let's see what he does first. So they're all hiding alcohol bottles. Yeah, that's a big no-no. That's going to be an issue. Alcohol, especially if they're already in trouble, is going to just be one more problem to deal with.
Like somebody forgot there's a rule against alcoholic beverages in fraternities on probation.
What a tool.
So he's
You
on
bad
trouble.
apples have to spoil a good time for everyone by breaking the rules.
Put a sock on it, boy, or else you'll be out of here like shit through a goose.
That's a mental
You
image.
boys seen your grade point average yet?
Real thing, GPAs being too low can cause huge issues for fraternities.
It's the lowest in Faber history.
Well,
That means they're going to be shut down because of GPA, probably.
It's the beginning of this semester.
double secret probation?
And that means
So they've never even been told they're on this double secret probation, apparently. That is, how can you expect someone to fix something if they haven't been told it's a problem to deal with?
one more slip up, one more mistake,
Yeah.
and this fraternity of yours.
Like alcohol
has
when
had
they're
it.
not supposed to have alcohol?
Faber.
Bye, don't you think?
We've got to do something. He's serious this time.
So the dean has thrown down the gauntlet and they are going to be removed if they do even one more thing.
I think he knows about the exams.
He's right.
You're right. We got to do something.
They
Absolutely.
gotta do
You know what
something.
we got to do?
Toga party.
I don't think the toga party is going to solve your problems here, but potentially. All right. Last movie clip, going to give a shot to Accepted. This movie is one of my favorites that I love from the early 2000s, 2006 to be precise. It's the story of a young Justin Long learning that he did not get accepted into college and making his own fake college, the South Harmon Institute of Technology. Take from that acronym what you will. This is when he brings in his Uncle Ben, his friend's Uncle Ben, to discuss what college is like with Justin Long's character's parents. So we'll give a shot at it.
People say that college is the time when young men and women expand the way that they look at their world,
True.
when they open their minds to new ideas and experiences,
We
and when
do
they
want
begin that long journey from the innocence of youth to the responsibilities of adulthood.
That college does all those things.
Now, isn't that a load of horseshit?
Hey. Apparently, Dean Lewis here is a little more cynical about higher ed than I am, but we'll see how he explains that to the parents.
Could you explain that to us a little more?
Yes, please.
Dean Lewis, why don't you tell them a little bit about the philosophy here at South Harmon?
Look, we throw a lot of fancy words in front of these kids in order to attract them to going to school in the belief that they're going to have a better life. And we all know that all we're doing is breeding a whole new generation of buyers and sellers, pimps and whores, and indoctrinating them into a lifelong hell of debt and indecision.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's far more cynical than I ever have been or will be about higher education. I think he makes a kernel of a valid point in that colleges can sell dreams that are not really attainable, but this is not the way to critique it. And don't, for the love of God, don't call students sex workers and pimps. Oh Lord.
I just don't understand.
Do I have to spoon feed it to you?
Probably.
Look, there's only one reason the kids want to go to school.
Holy shit.
He's broke. He's broken.
Which is?
To get a good job.
I think so. so we can see the character evolve right here, and he's got that crap-eating grin that he's sharing with Justin Long. Oh my god, good job. Yeah, that is
Get a
why.
good job with a great starting salary.
That's really true and fair. Like that's what a lot of students want, and sometimes we sell it to
Couldn't
them
agree more.
and get it to them. Sometimes we don't. All right, last clip of I. Well, as I load up the last clip, I think that is just one of the things I love about Accepted as a movie is how it is about bringing people together and opening up um, who and what kind of potential people have. And I think that the Dean Lewis character is just amazing for that. He is just cynical and burned out, but he understands that ultimately he's there to help the students reach their goals. And with that in mind, we will jump to the last clip of the night where we will go over um, Bartleby's speech. Bartleby is Justin Long's character's name at what could rightfully be called orientation for South Harmon Institute of Technology.
It's a good question. Thank you. My name is Bartleby. Hello. Gaines, for what it's worth. And do you know on the website how it said acceptance is just one click away? Do you remember that?
Yep.
We had intended, hold on, we added
Just like reorientation, there's some of the question halfway through.
that because we were, yeah, okay, what, I'm sorry, what do you want?
When I got accepted here, it was the first time my parents ever said they were proud of me.
That's people laugh, but that's adorable and that's heartbreaking. And realistically, that's just I'm happy for that kid, that student. And we clap. We clap because parents are proud of him for the first time ever. That's the way. That's what we want to see.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Hey, just show of hands, how many people applied to other colleges?
Everybody.
Okay. And how many of you got in to the other places you applied to?
Jonah Hill's character and no one else.
Nobody. Nobody got in anywhere else.
So this gives me goosebumps and hits close to home for me because I work at what's called an access institution, meaning that if you meet certain minimum standards, you are invited to be one of our students. You don't have to be the best, the brightest, the smartest. You just need to meet our requirements. You don't need to compete with other students to get in. And so this sort of competitive nature of higher ed, I get and I understand where it comes from, but this is the sort of student who I prefer to work with. The ones who haven't been competing against everyone else, the ones who simply want to go to college and know that they meet our benchmark to attend. The ones coming to access institutions. So this one hits home for me.
And you know what? I didn't either.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into a real college, a really good college. I know what it's like to be rejected. It sucks. Rejection blows, being said no to. You know what? I'm sorry, you're just not quite good enough. You didn't have extracurriculars. You didn't play enough tennis. You didn't study hard enough for your scores. So you're not going to make it. You know what? Screw that. What is he doing? I think he's winging it. Shouldn't we all have the chance to be said yes to? At South Harmon, we say yes to you. We say yes to your hopes. We say yes to your dreams. We say yes to your flaws. So welcome. Grab a room, grab a friend, grab yourself. We don't give a shit. Welcome to South Harmon Institute of Technology.
That's the most. Their jaws are on the floor. This fake college just became real. I love it. We accept you as you are. We accept your skills, your strengths, your flaws. Like that's the type of college I want to work for. Maybe with more accreditation than South Harmon Institute of Technology, but yes.
Welcome to Shits.
An absolutely fantastic scene. Loving it. And it wraps up there. So I'll call it there with us being welcome to South Harmon Institute of Technology. And I'll just say that that is a nice fantastic thing. And we will call it a night there. And thank you everyone for coming out. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the future.